Yo, how's it going today? I'm doing great. Anyways, TDUSC, Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown, last month, KT released the demo for the PC version out of nowhere without even saying anything. Now, we got to play the game, test it out, and kind of get a feel of, what it's going to be like. There were some bugs, some things that people didn't like, but in this video, I'm just going to give my honest opinions about the game and just talk about the things I like and didn't like. Now, before I get into it, I just want to state that in a recent interview, one of the developers actually stated that the demo is an old build, or a really old build. So I think it was primarily made just to test out the servers, but either way, I'm still going to give my opinions about it, and we also got a lot of new footage and new interviews as well from a few YouTubers. So the first thing is the map. Now, the map is amazing. There's nothing bad I can say about it. It's a 1-to-1 scale with Hong Kong Island. I mean, we haven't got a dense city in a long time in a racing game. The only thing I would say about the map is that the lanes and the highways are a little bit too wide, but it's not a deal breaker because you still get a fair share of like wide roads and tight roads throughout the map, so I still like it. But the only thing I will say is I hope they do this on launch is more traffic, so the city feels more live in general. But that's like the only thing I would like to see, which I think they will add either way. But yeah, map is amazing. It speaks for itself, really. There was a little bit of a teaser in the release date trailer talking about the whole trip to Ibiza thing. So I don't know if we're gonna get a Ibiza map, but I think like early on in development, it was stated from a dev that the Hong Kong Island is just a start to a bigger map. So hopefully we see something in the future. Again, I'm not expecting it on launch. They are claiming that they have a bunch of big surprises, so maybe that is one of them. But either way, map is amazing. Now moving on to the cars. So the car list is, I think right now, 70 to 80, maybe closer to 100 cars confirmed. Just from all the trailers and the demo and all that. Now, in a recent interview by Traxion, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but he interviewed one of the devs, and the developer basically said it's going to be over 100 cars in the game. Now, hopefully, we get closer to maybe 200 cars on launch. But what I would like is a good variety of cars. I don't want it to just be like 500 cars, but they're all like supercars or hypercars. I'd rather have 200 cars and having a fair share of sports cars, sedans, SUVs, just a bunch of different stuff. High-end cars, low-end cars. So we got a good, like, fair share of different cars to grind for. Now, the handling. The handling in the game surprised me a lot. It's completely different than any other racing game that you'll play. Like, you actually feel the weight of the cars. Every car handles a little bit differently, but in the demo, it wasn't the best representation of that. Now, although you actually felt a difference in the cars, the one problem in the demo was the traction or the drifting and the suspension as well. So if you were trying to initiate a drift, you didn't feel like the car is actually drifting. You just feel like the car is losing control. There was no sense of throttle control at all. Every time you were drifting or, the car was sideways, it would full lock, and it feels like the car would just want to grip up in the direction of the angle that it's facing. It didn't feel like you're drifting. It just felt like you were fighting the wheel, really. I didn't get to play it on the wheel because force feedback was not working for me. But on the controller, it was not an enjoyable experience at all, right? Also, the suspension, you would go over a little tiny speed bump and the car would just hop up like really high for some reason. Obviously these were bugs. It's not something that I looked at and I was like, oh, this is the game. I knew that they had to change this, but I was hoping that they would actually properly change it and not just kind of tweak it ever so slightly and just release the game, But luckily, in a new interview done by Alex7, he showcased some new gameplay with the new and improved handling and physics. And in this gameplay, you can clearly see they actually have throttle control, so you actually have to play with the throttle in order to hold a drift. The cars don't feel like they're going to grip up every time they're sideways. And it's also, the wheel's not full locking, so you actually have a proper steering wheel angle as well. The suspension is also fixed, so going over bumps are very realistic now. It's actually, you get proper suspension rather than the car bouncing up and down. So I'm really happy they fixed this because that was one of the things I was really hoping for, especially like, the whole traction thing. But it only makes sense. I mean, your handling is one of the main things in a racing game, and it's probably one of the main focuses as well. Now, wheel gameplay, or playing on a wheel is also fixed. So in his gameplay, he showed a lot of footage of him playing on a wheel, drifting, driving on a track. One of the things I actually do like now is that you don't have to turn the wheel as much. So apparently it feels a lot more realistic. You got force feedback working, so there's no more concern for that. Now, the one thing that needs to be changed or has to be changed is the steering wheel animation. Please just change it. I don't want to see, what is that? Like, it barely turns. It throws you off if you're driving in first person, especially with the wheel. I mean, I just don't like it at all, you know, especially when you're going high speeds and you just pull, like, screw it, I want to pull a 360 drift out of nowhere and the wheel barely moves. Doesn't make sense at all to me. No, but just in general, you know, if the game is claiming to be immersive, simcade, you know, that leans more towards a sim racer, it only makes sense for them to add like at least a 360 degrees steering wheel angle, or preferably 900. Now, I know this is one of the things that they probably already know, and they've seen the community feedback, because this was actually on their form, their feedback form on the demo, so they are aware of it. I just hope they really do add it. Now, even if it's not on launch, I hope it's soon. I mean, I want to experience playing through the game with that steering wheel angle. Also, they are claiming that they are a simcade, leaning more towards sim, and they are claiming, you know, to be like a really immersive open world racing game. And if you want to claim the immersion, if you want to claim that you're leaning more towards sim racing, it should have that. I mean, in my opinion, at least a 360 degree steering wheel angle, but preferably 900 degree. I mean, if there's a game like The Crew that can add it, I mean, I understand they are a AAA studio, but it's an arcade racer. I mean, come on. You're immersive, simcade. Please, just please add it. That's all. There's one thing I really want in the game. Even if it's not on launch, a couple months after, I'll take it. Now, car sounds. I am amazed. Honestly, I'm amazed with the car sounds. It's one of the best car sounds I ever heard in the racing game. Maybe the best so far. We haven't heard all the cars, so I can't say for sure that every single car is the most accurate, but from what I heard, they are almost one-to-one with how they sound in real life. Sound design is honestly just amazing. Not much I can say about that, but I'm really excited to hear the rest of the cars and see what all the other ones are going to sound like. Now, customization in the game, I mean, there's not much. You got performance upgrades, and you can change your livery, you know, like the paint of your car, and also there are a good selection of aftermarket rims as well. Now, you can also choose the color of the interior, and there are some options for factory rims and paint finishes, but there are no real customization options for the car. So there's no wide body kits, there's no bumpers, there's no wings. I mean, I just hope eventually they add something, at least like OEM parts, so we can get like some OEM spoilers and bumpers and all that kind of stuff. But just adding a little bit of customization is nice. I know previous TDU games didn't really have it, but I would like to personalize my car a little bit. And I'm not expecting anything extreme, but a little bit of customization would be nice. You know, especially since this is an online only game. You're going to probably see a bunch of other people with the same car as you. And, you know, it's nice to just have a little bit of personalization, so not every car on the street is exactly the same. And also, there are those parking garages in the game, so people will most likely have some car meets, and there's a big chance a lot of people will have the same car in them as well. And, you know, if there are no customization options, people will just have the same car with just a different color. But if there is, you know, you can show off your build, you can have a little bit of personalization, you can stand out a little bit. So it's just nice to have. I would love to see it. Another thing that I would really like to see in the game is actually having control of your ride height. So I know in some of the suspension upgrades that the car does lower, but I actually want to have full control over it. Maybe like similar to how Forza has it. So even after the suspension upgrade, you can go in a menu and even lower your car further. And also exhaust tones as well. So if they add like some exhaust customization so that with the exhaust upgrades, it does change sound, it would be nice as well. Now, a little bit of a suggestion for the cars. I don't know if this will be a good idea or not, but being able to fuel your car, just adding fuel to the game. We have gas stations. It will just add a little bit of a, you know, extra immersion, but I don't know if how they would add it in, but it will be nice. It will be nice to have something like that as well, but I just want to throw that in there. Nothing much to say about it. Now, the gameplay. In terms of progression, there's not really much to say about it because in the demo, to be honest, there was not much to do. They kind of just threw you in there. There was no real intro or anything to the game. But from what we know, the progression is going to be long, which I actually like. I really do like the fact that they did that. There are some cars that you would actually have to grind 200 plus hours to earn. I'm assuming these are going to be the supercars. Some people like it, some people don't, but preferably it gives me more of a reason to play the game because I hate to buy a game and just 2 minutes later I have nothing to do in it. But yeah, progression is going to be good. I'm happy that there is finally a game with proper progression now. Now the dealerships is pretty much the same thing as what we had before, except the design's different. They are a little bit more futuristic and modern in TDUSC. I was hoping that we do get different sizes in dealerships. A lot of them are like really big and like spaced out. They feel more like auto shows, to be honest, but it still gives you that nice dealership experience. It would have been nice though, let's say if we got like a supercar dealership with like 1 or 2 cars in it and it's like a little bit more like a smaller dealership and its focus is really on just those 2 cars, and then you have like, I don't know, like the German car, the Asian car dealerships that are like bigger and, you know, more spaced out, more cars in them. But either way, you still get that same amazing experience like going to the dealerships. Now the houses and garages, unfortunately, we don't have them. It's probably the biggest thing in the game that a lot of people are disappointed about. I was hoping we do get it. They said post-launch we will. We have the hotel, which doesn't hit the same, to be honest with you. Now, the one thing about the demo is that we didn't have real garage spaces. So meaning that the cars were not relative to the amount of garage spaces you have. You can have unlimited cars, and the garage in the hotel was really just to choose which car you would like to showcase. I don't know if I'm really a big fan of that. I mean, the whole point of the houses was that if you ever run out of spaces, you actually had to grind for another house, or you had to sell one of your cars in order to buy the car that you wanted, right? Also, it gave you a reason to actually like use the garages. So you had to go into your garage, you had to choose the car you wanted to drive, and if you ever wanted to switch into another car, you had to go back into the house, choose the car you wanted, and then drive it out, right? Now that it is unlimited, now I don't know if on launch it's going to be like this or if we're going to get real garage spaces, but from the way the game looks, it's probably going to be unlimited, and the garage spaces is just going to be to showcase your car. If it's like this, there's no purpose of the garage to be there, since I can choose my car from anywhere. I can go to a gas station, change my car, go to a solar point, change my car. Not the biggest fan of that, to be honest. The whole point of the houses was to grind for the house to get more cars, you know, and also, I don't know, it just gave you like a really cool feeling. You bought a new house, you got a bigger house, you got a really cool garage. Nowadays, like in the demo, I didn't use the garage more than once. I just chose my car, drove it out, and then anytime I wanted to switch my car, went to one of the gas stations. I mean, it really doesn't force you to go back into the garage. So if they add the houses in, are we really going to actually use the garages if there are no real garage spaces? Now, I'm hoping, however they incorporate the houses, it gives us a reason to actually use them. Maybe on launch, it's going to be different. I don't know, but that's just one of the things in the game that I just feel like they didn't really have a reason to get rid of houses. The reason was that people don't use them, but they use the garages, man. It's like, it was a whole experience of just walking through the house and going into your garage, but I don't know, man. I feel like that's one of the biggest things that like, I wouldn't say it's a disappointment, but it's just they kind of let down the community with that. But since they are gonna add the houses eventually in the future, I'm still happy about it. Now, graphics, again, not much I'm gonna say about it because it is a demo version, and also I know a lot of people were complaining the graphics don't look that good. Look, first of all, I don't look at a game for its graphics, I look at it for its gameplay. I just want decent enough graphics, which it looks like it has. Also, I'm expecting that on the launch, it will look much better since the demo was an old build. So again, I'm not going to say too much about it. The online only aspect, some people like it, some people don't. I don't know if I really will like it or not. I'm not like against it. We will have to actually play the game and get all the online features to see how it rolls out. But they have fixed a few things. Like, you know, you don't have to wait 30 seconds for a race anymore, and you can have a higher chance of playing solo, so that's good. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much all my opinions about the game. I am excited for it. I will make like a proper review when it actually releases. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.